spreading awareness and spreading stories and encouraging others to spread their stories and having that community. Diagnosed late with scoliosis. My mom noticed a bump on my back when I bent over to tie my shoe. It was after the winter or the spring. We were going out for a walk, and she just noticed it. At the time, I was in the 7th grade, and I had 2 classmates with scoliosis. When we went to the clinic, the doctor had given me 2 possibilities of what it could have been, and I instantly thought it was scoliosis because I remember those 2 classmates, whenever they would have pain in school, I also had pain, but I never understood why. I was referred to Sick Kids for further evaluation. I did the EOS x-rays, MRI, and had a physical consult, and then I learned my scoliosis was very progressive and was likely going to be a surgical curve. At 12, I wanted absolutely nothing to do with surgery, so I was offered a brace. Over 2 years, I had 2 braces, and even though I had my ups and downs with the brace, I will never forget how excited I was when I first got the brace. I put it on, I'm walking out of the hospital, like so excited, like I can't move and I'm just walking. And I go to get in the truck, and I'm not used to bending, and I smacked my head right off the side of the truck because you're not used to it. So that excitement did not last very long. My mom still talks about hearing me so frustrated in the middle of the night ripping off the Velcro of the brace. I was very lucky to have great peers at my school, though, who were just so excited to try to punch the brace. They were like, I bet I could do it. Yeah. The most important advice I can give for when you're in a brace is to be an advocate for yourself and for your child. Ask for what you need from your peers, your teachers, and your family. I was able to have a whole stretching area in the back of my classroom, and I was also able to go for a walk. So just asking for what you need. Despite my efforts, my curve continued to progress, and it was causing significant pain. As a dedicated student, missing school was a huge challenge for me. I spent the beginning of high school teaching myself all the lessons and being wrapped in heating pads, A535, and tears. I was very fortunate that my parents were able to support me in going to massages and osteopath appointments every week, and really having just that support was key. My next treatment option I tried was the scoliosisphysiotherapy method. This was life-changing for me. It was my scoliosis pain management. My family traveled to Ottawa from Toronto to see Andrea LaBelle every 6 weeks, and I did physiotherapy at home every day. Andrea LaBelle has become a huge part of my story. I'm sure most of you know her. But for those of you who don't, she's a physiotherapist of over 30 years, and she opened the first Schroth clinic in Canada. She gave me the hope and knowledge that I could not get anywhere else. Andrea, thank you for your generosity and your leadership in the scoliosis community. You inspire me every day. Unfortunately, my curve was very progressive, and by 2018, I realized that if I wanted to pursue my dreams of being a physiotherapist and a mom who could hold her child without pain, I knew I needed surgery, and this was not an easy decision for me to make. I remained on the wait list for nearly 2 years before doing the spinal fusion surgery in 2020, just days before aging out of the Children's Hospital. And even at 17, this surgery was daunting, to say the least. But again, I had the amazing support, and I used therapy tools that were able to get me into the OR. If anyone is thinking about having the scoliosis surgery, please come see me, and I'll share more of the strategies that I used in person because it really, really helped my experience. Now I'm 5 years post-operation, almost. I have no pain. I completed my undergraduate degree, and I'm an ongoing advocate for scoliosis awareness. I advocate for scoliosis awareness because early detection could have made non-invasive treatment options more effective and reduced the challenges that I faced. One way I do this is through the Scoliosis Resource Centre, which is what hosts this event. The Scoliosis Resource Centre was founded by Andrea LaBelle and offers resources to scoliosis patients throughout the journey. So we have an online resource center we're always adding new resources on there. We also have peer mentoring, so patients and parents can talk to somebody and hosting events like this. If you're interested in learning more, reach out to me or Andrea. If I can leave you with one last note, it's so important to have support. I've been so lucky to be surrounded by amazing people such as Andrea and my family here today that made me always feel supported. If you are in need of support, I want everyone here to know that whether you're a patient or a family member, you can reach out to me at the Scoliosis Resource Centre to ask questions or have a peer listen to your story and cheer you through your journey, because I think that's an important part. Okay, that's my story.
Very encouraging to hear your story. And yes, I'm Jay Jarvis from the surgery group at CHIO, and I'm here representing our group along with our world-famous nurse practitioner Jessica Romeo, who's here with her daughter Delia. So first thing though, what I would like to do is obviously I would like to thank Andrea and Andy for once again, and her whole team for putting on just a fantastic event here. I think this is the 10th year in a row. Am I right? 10? Yeah, unbelievable, and we appreciate it so much. This actually happens to be the National Scoliosis Awareness Month, as advocated by the Scoliosis Research Society, which is the worldwide biggest society for spinal deformity, and it's just unbelievably coincidental that it happens to be on the day of the CHIO telethon. So I can tell you, we're so grateful at CHIO for everything that you guys are doing for us, and I can assure you that all the hard work that you put in and the money that you raise goes to a wonderful cause. For us, it gets directed to the CHIO Foundation, and then redirected to the scoliosis organization. It goes for education and resources, and to a certain extent for some research that we're doing, which is actually quite exciting. Happy to talk to any of you about it. So I'd like to thank all of you for everything that you've done for us. And just before we get Andrea up here to talk a little about screening, and scoliosis is actually way more common than one would think. And for people that are diagnosed with scoliosis, 1 out of 6 needs some kind of advanced treatment, whether that is bracing or surgery. So it's really key to try to diagnose this early so that we can intervene earlier than it gets to that point. And one of the mainstays for doing that is the scoliosis examination. And Andrea is an expert at that, so I'm going to have her come up and say a few things and give us a demo.
Hi everyone, thank you for coming out, and we're going to demonstrate the scoliosis screening test, which is only taking 30 seconds or less. I'm going to use a scoliometer, which is an old school, but you can use your app on your phone, either Spine Screen, or we have a new app now, Momentum Health as well. So it's not so difficult to screen out scoliosis. And I'm going to ask for a volunteer whom I could screen out. You coming? Okay. We have a volunteer here. Okay. And he's my son, so you might want to know that he has a little bit of scoliotic attitude and a little bit of scoliotic posture. So he has been screened almost every week since he's a teenager. So he knows how to do this. And I'm going to ask him to bend forward. I'm going to check if there's anything higher on one side than another. And once they are noticing a little bit of elevation in this level, which is a scoliometer, is going to show a different number. So we're going to start with the knees straight, the arms hanging. And once you see this bubble going off 0, then you know that the patient might have some sort of scoliosis. Now turn it this way. Okay, bend forward again. So when you're running this level on the back, you might see a little elevation. If that is more than 5 to 7 degrees, you should be seeing a professional to check if you need an x-ray to follow up. You can do this with the spine screen app. It will just tell you that from Shriners Hospital if it's acceptable or unacceptable, or you can do it with Momentum Health, which is going to give you a lot more information. So that's available through the clinics with CHIO, and we try to avoid too much or too many x-rays. So we only refer for x-rays if this is very positive to avoid early exposure for x-rays. So this is it. You feel free to screen your neighbors, your friends, your entire family. We are here to screen you if you wanted to get screened as well. And keep screening because it's very important to find scoliosis early to make sure that bracing and scoliosis-specific physiotherapy could be helpful. And I just want to call out, we have Ted and Rajiv here from Rehab Center who is making the braces for the teenagers to halt the progression of scoliosis. And without them, the curvature may not stop. If it wants to progress, the kids might need to wear these braces part-time or full-time. And additionally, they will do the scoliosis-specific
Thanks for, Andrea, thanks for inviting us. And I think I'm really honored to have a really good relationship with CHIO, with Jessica, and the orthopedic surgeons that work with us for scoliosis, and also with Jessica and Jennifer and her physios that encourage us to always push our boundaries to try to do better with what we do with our bracing. And yeah, it's a learning curve for us too, and we're always trying to improve on what we do. And I think all the kids, I'm always honored by how courageous they are with going through this scoliosis training.
I'm glad everybody's enjoying coloring their little braces. It doesn't take too long to make, but it's nice when people are making colorful braces to put on their little stuffies or something.